first of all, thank you to Kevin Bradley, who sent us a detailed email here. He took the time to break down and crunch all the numbers, and we'll use the Circa Survivor, how many left are out here. And by the way, every time we talk about this, we get feedback, and I do look at the feedback that we get. I mean, some of these Survivor pools from across the country, they start with 20,000 or more entries. Yeah. It's awesome. It's very, very popular, obviously.
Sure. And I find it fascinating what they do, so you don't have a huge chop. And then you have to pick two usually moving forward.
There are certain weeks during the year where they put it out in the rules where you need to pick at least two teams. My prediction is that's what Circa is going to do next year.
Yeah, because this could be a big chop here at Circa.
So we have 1,153 remaining. That's about 12.4%. The value now on each ticket is $8,037. And here's the breakdown now. 828 individual entrants remain out of 2843. That's an average of 1.4 per player remaining versus 3.3 per player originally. Again, you could walk up to Circa before the season started and get 10. And then obviously that means that you could bring your wife or your mom or your brother or your sister, whomever, you could get 50 or 80 or whatever. I mean, as long as they're going to sign up and have it under their own name. 10 entries owned still by 5 people.
Yep.
Okay, so
it's tough. Now the question is, do they continue to shove? I think that's lunacy.
Well, have they been all shoving the entire year? Remember, Love My Baxter, who's been a contest winner out here before, did not. His picks were all over the map.
He
just happened to still be alive and not get one of them knocked out.
That's the question now. What happens with these remaining people? A couple of them did. They used Cleveland again last week, and do they continue to shove and go all in? And I don't think you have that. Well, Dallas jumps out. I mean, do you have the Lions in Thanksgiving? But how many people do this moving forward and to continue to do it?
Now,
and just say, listen, I have such an advantage here.
Oh, you're in a power position.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no one that can catch me. In terms of if I just, go here and mix it up and go there, and we're going to be on the same team. So if there's carnage, I benefit. And,
To your point, shout out to the great Frank B., professional gambler. If he's listening today, this morning, probably from Puerto Vallarta. Who knows? He might be out paddleboarding at this point. But he came on the air a couple of weeks ago, and he's awesome. He said at this point, I think most people now remaining would get this, but just in case if you're contemplating this, Frank explained that you do not want to do the double option. You're giving away, again, every ticket's valued at like $8,000 right now.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
No, there's no way you could do that. Yeah. 8 people, or 8 entries are owned by 2 people. 5 entries by 3, 4 entries by 14, 3 entries by 49, and 2 entries still by 114 people. I think you're in a pretty decent spot. Are you one of those that have 2 left?
Yeah. I've already been resigned to the fact that I'm not going to win significant money, though, because of these people that, I Love My Baxter's one of them. He has 8 left. He's won before, and 5 people with 10. So I'm drawn dead for significant
you're Debbie
money.
Downer over here.
Dead. Well, I'm a real man.
Would you consider selling?
How am I going to compete with people who have 10 left? I mean, it's in terms of significant money. I mean, I'm a huge dog unless they are complete morons.
That's very glass half empty.
Okay. But I love the breakdown from Kevin Bradley.
Hold on. Let me ask you. Would you consider selling your ticket?
Sure. Absolutely.
You would?
Yeah. I find that website fascinating and what's listed and based on who you have left, what's available and what someone would pay for it. And you never know. Someone doesn't live here and wants to be part of the action and get in this and $9 million on the line. Now, 83% have Dallas.
On Thanksgiving.
Thank you. On Thanksgiving. I might gamble here. I might use the Cowboys against Danny DeVito and say, if Zach Wilson beats me, I know I'm on the road and it's a division game and there's rules and, I know, okay. But if Zach Wilson beats me, so be it, because I'm not in love with Cincinnati. I got to see more with Chase and Higgins, and Chase didn't practice. And I know Cincinnati's a freight train here, but I also would like to use Cincinnati down the road, and they host the Colts, and there's other possibilities and ways you could use Cincinnati. I like the Steelers. The line's fishy. Why is it only 3? Packers stink. That's an option.
Well, if it's fishy, doesn't it make you want to stay away?
Yeah, right. But I'm thinking maybe Dallas, take the layup, survive in advance, and then I'm stuck. I would only have Miami available on Black Friday. But I am concerned that Dallas could poop in the punch bowl against Washington. I think Washington and Sam Howell can really rain on that parade.
If you have both teams remaining right now, this is the way I look at it anyway. And I talked about this yesterday on the air. Now I have some regrets of using the Lions, and who knows if we'd be here or not,
right.
of using the Lions in Week 5 against Carolina, because I would much rather use Detroit. And I've been thinking this now for a good month. I'd much rather have Detroit on Thanksgiving than against Green Bay than use Dallas against Washington.
Yeah.
Certainly, Mike McCarthy could somehow figure out a way to lose that game. Now,
absolutely.
You're taking, without rules, Paul, there's chaos.
There is. That's a risk. And also, I love Miami Week 11 against the Raiders at home.
Yeah.
So then I want to use them there because Week 11 is a tough week. There are not a lot of candidates. It is difficult.
Okay, let's say that you don't go with Dallas this week then. Who's the consideration? And by the way, for the record, 518 people or entries are still owned. The Lions are still on those tickets.
I do not have the Lions, but yep.
162 have Miami.
I echo your sentiments. I wish I had the Lions. I think they will bury the Packers on Thanksgiving.
Yep. 397 entries, 34% have Dallas and Detroit remaining. So again, how many of those will use Dallas this week and save Detroit? And then Dallas, Detroit, Miami remaining, 19 entries still.
I'm also thinking from a strategy standpoint, like the Joker, I Agent of Chaos and root. Imagine if Dallas goes out. Imagine if Detroit goes out and I don't have them and I'm sitting there with Miami. And then it's okay. Then you can maneuver, and then what does it look like?
Because that's also the next day.
That's right.
And that you'd have a major advantage in your pocket under that scenario.
Right. That's right. And also, I was talking to Derek Stevens, and he pointed this out Thursday. Have you looked at the Week 12 Sunday card?
Oh, I have.
I mean, how brutal is that?
Yeah.
So that's why I think you're going to see a lot of people who could hit the chopping block.
Well, first and foremost, you got to get by this week.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Bengals are going to be
very popular.
Originally, going into the week, yes. More so than Dallas, because I think people are going to be holding them for Thanksgiving. But now with the Chase news, did not practice yesterday, has the back. And then on top of that, blindsided by this news, T. Higgins now also hit the injury report.
Yep.
I know that on that report for the Texans, a lot of players are on it this week, but I think it's trending that most of the key guys will play. Dameon Pierce, unsure about him yet. But I do not love the Bengals this week in Survivor. And so I spent probably combined 90 minutes going back and forth with the group that we have the one ticket with yesterday.
Did they say you get what you deserve if you take the Steelers?
That really wasn't even kicked around yet so far.
Okay. That'd be risky because they can't score and outgain in every game. But is Jordan Love going to move the ball?
I'm trying to think how okay I'm with that if we use the Steelers and they lose. I think I'm pretty okay with it, although I think the Steelers are also a total fraud.
Yeah. That is true. But my other thinking also with Miami on Black Friday was 34% have Dallas and Detroit still remaining. And if you get a big upset there to start the day, because you're not playing that San Francisco-Seattle game. Can't imagine anyone wants to get involved there.
I know. You can't predict injuries.
Yeah.
Go back to the Bengals this week. I like what you said, too, because I circled the Bengals in Week 14 at home to the Colts.
Yep.
That's when I would like to use them, but who knows? I mean, if they're banged up this week, there's something, I didn't even want to put it in the universe.
And certainly the Arizona, with the Kyler Murray news, has changed things. I mean, the guy, say what you want, the guy's made the playoffs, and it's a night and day compared to Tune.
Oh,
so this can change things as well from a strategy standpoint.
If you're in a total pinch, would you consider Atlanta this week?
No.
Up next, we'll talk college.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.